So here's my challenge, because I saw a lot of you saying you should start keto in the comments, or you have started keto. Weigh yourself today. Go keto or carnivore, one of those things, between now and SRF, and tell us how much you lost. It is, what is it, August 10th. Self-Reliance Festival is October 1st. How many pounds can you shed just by changing your diet? If you don't know how to do that, check out Dr. Ken Berry's YouTube channel. He'll talk to you about the proper human diet. He has all sorts of videos on how to go there. But that's my challenge. How much weight can we lose between now and Self-Reliance Festival? Because I'll tell you what, I got a fitness guy there who's going to take us the next step. Now, how can we get strong? Self-reliance isn't just about, about having food stored. If you can't walk from here to the end of your driveway and back without getting out of breath, it's time to work on that too. Okay. Michael wants to know, John, do you know Instructor Z in Nashville?
No, I have no idea who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
So you know what? I'm going to come out here and be absolutely honest about this. So John kicked my ass last time about TikTok. Anyway, I did keto for a long time and lost a lot of weight. And I have been completely off the fucking wagon for a few months now. And I feel like shit. And I know I'm doing it. And I can do absolutely anything I put my mind to. But since you're making that challenge, I'll take you up on it, and we'll see.
Let's do it. I gained some weight again this year too, so that's why I'm throwing it out there.
And I'm always, anyway, I'm not making an excuse. I'm just fucking lazy when it comes to food. And I felt so good on keto, and I'm just off the wagon. So everybody knows, everybody can struggle with certain things, and that's always been my fucking struggle. So I'm gonna stick with it, Nicole, and I'll make it public so you know.
I ate a half a carton of ice cream for dinner last night.
I know you did. You said it on your live stream, and I actually was listening to your live stream.
Yeah.
Did you have any negative effects from that on the other end?
It slows me down the next day for sure, right? I drink a margarita in a cup about this much tequila, right? The rest of it's sugar-free soda.
Yeah.
But you need to look at alcohol as though it's poison. You are literally poisoning yourself every time you use it. Mentally, I perform much better the next day with zero alcohol the night before. If I have 2 drinks, for instance, on Friday night, if I drink twice, I sleep much deeper and have better sleep, but I sleep way longer. I'm not getting up at 4:30 on Saturday morning, right? I'm much better. My performance and my money is better without the alcohol. I am much more restless, though, and I sleep a lot less without the alcohol also. Like, I'll go to bed at 12 o'clock, but I'm definitely going to look at the clock at 2, and I'm going to look at the clock at 3, and I'm going to get up at 3:30. So I can do that for a while, 3 weeks, maybe a month, on 3 to 4 hours of sleep. But really where I am just kind of a happy medium of both is when I drink each night. I mean, it's just the sleep thing. I mean, I can take chemicals or different stuff, sleep aids, but even then I don't sleep. It's just not there.
Yep. Okay, so who in the comments, let me know, Y or N, are you going to join me on the keto challenge? Let's get more people doing it. Even if you're not coming to SRF, you can totally report back. If you've been to Self-Reliance Festival, we have a Telegram group now, by the way. Check your emails this week, because we're sending an email to everybody whose email we have who's been to one, that will have the invitation for that. We even got Mr. Willis on there. He's said 2 things.
Yeah, I saw that. I was quite impressed.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm going to stay there. It's just too fucking. It's like all my notifications. I know that when I have notifications come through my phone, it's typically social media that I'm going to react to, and I get 1,000 times more notifications off of that group I've only been on one day than everything else, and none of it's actionable to me.
I turn them off and then just check it.
I'll have to look at that.
I honestly, about 85% of the Telegram groups I am are snoozed anyway. I've got about 3 that I'm in all the time, and other than that, but notifications off and then just pop in. You can turn notifications off, and the only thing that'll come up is if somebody tags your name in something. That's kind of helpful too.
Perfect. Michael, I don't know who that is. I do know some 5th group guys though that run some training companies and have some YouTube channels and stuff, but I don't think they're like in Nashville proper. I think they're more kind of towards Clarksville.
Yeah, and I will say this, Tim. The key to success for me staying keto is getting ahead of the meals. So at lunch today, I know what's for dinner. On Sunday, I took all, like all the meat out I was going to cook for the week from the freezer, and I have something in place, and then having snacks worked out, because if you're going to have a snack and you have something easy to grab that's keto, like a pre-cooked hamburger patty is a really easy one. And that may sound gross to somebody to eat cold, but if you like have garlic and salt and stuff on it, it's delicious. If you have that stuff nailed, I find it a lot easier to stay than if I'm like, it's 6 o'clock. What am I cooking for dinner?
That's
okay. Now I want to eat at 6:15. Like, what can I get done? So for me, it's like taking a little time on Sunday to think about the week, so I don't just completely go off the rails. Because if I'm left to my own devices, there's going to be Chinese takeout in the mix.
Yep. And there's no excuses. That's exactly us too, Nicole. And when I pull things out in the morning and have it ready, and when I'm strict keto, 1 meal a day, I eat supper and that's it, and I'm full. And then when you're not, I'm fucking snacking all the time. And that's about what I lost too, Brian. He said 123 pounds. I was down. Yeah, about 110. I was down at the best. So but yeah, no, I'm in 100%.
All right.
Again.
We've got a couple people in the chat, and some are not coming to SRF, but they're just going to report back anyway. So that works for me.
You know what? I'll stand up when I give my presentation, and I will tell you the amount that I've lost between now and then. And awesome. If it's 0, I will tell you it's fucking 0. And if I gain 5, I'll tell. No, it won't be. But I'm just telling you, I will. So hold me to it.
Okay, I'll do the same. I will do the same.
I like having motivation.
Next topic: freeze drying. So when does your freeze dryer come?
About a month, I believe. I think.
Are you gonna try to do the sell candy to pay for it thing, or what are you gonna do there, or just using it for preservation?
Yeah, no, I would love to. I don't have the time to do that. I know I could, but for me, honestly, it's about meat, putting meat up for long term. I know not everybody's big into the long term, but I want to have, I have the short term taken care of. We normally have enough meat and food on hand for a year anyway. So I want to have, because it's so goddamn expensive to buy long-term stored proteins up here. So that's my next plan. And that's how I plan on paying for it, is figuring out how much it costs me and then subtracting it from whatever it cost me for a number 10 can or whatever of that. And I'm going to start putting it away. I might even buy one of we got talking about those canners. And now I'm kind of thinking I wouldn't mind having a canner. I know that's kind of weird. Not everybody's into them, but I like weird things. I think I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Get you a Presto canner.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I have.
You're talking about number 10 canner.
Yeah. I'm using the wrong term. I'm sorry. Like one of those that'll seal up the cans.
Yeah.
All American.
Yeah, I will check that out because I love pressure canning. I've done that for years. Always enjoyed it. But this is the next step for us. Oh, sure. TheRealTimCook@gmail.com.
Every time I try to email you, it does not want to bring up, because I type Tim and it does not bring you up. I have to type the.
I should change.
Like, what's the weird word I have to type for Tim? I don't know why. There's probably a way for me to program that in there.
That's because the fake Tim Cook runs Apple computers, so that's why I'm the real Tim Cook. That's where that came from. But yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people freeze drying protein. Like Erin says, she's got processed chicken in the Instapot to freeze dry. Somebody actually approached me about if I was still renting access to my freeze dryer, because if I'm not using it, I've never actually rented it to anybody. And I said, well, why? Because right now, I don't have my freeze dryer in an air conditioned space. It's been too hot outside to run it. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm freezing things for when it's cooler out, or for when I finish the prepper pantry and I have it in an air conditioned space. And he told me what he wants is ground beef. He wants about 30 pounds of ground beef that he can take with him for long-term storage, because he's kind of a nomadic lifestyle. And so if you're driving from place to place to place, having the freeze-dried beef is great if you're looking to also have stability of storage. So I'm going to do that for him. And I was just like, what I need you to do is pre-cook it, rinse it, get it frozen, no thicker than 3/4 of an inch, and have that ready to go. And then I'll let you know when you can start bringing it here, and we'll just start running it through the freeze dryer, and then we're good to go. But I think it's actually a way that a lot of people talk about freeze drying candy and making the money back. You totally can, because people will buy that stuff like it's crack, because it is basically crack. It's so good. But the other thing is that you could rent access to your freeze dryer if you're not using it all the time. And, you say that on Facebook and all the Karens come out of the woodwork telling you why you're going to kill somebody and food laws and blah, blah, blah. $20, you can run a batch through my freeze dryer. And it has to be prepared. And I'll even pull it out for you because you don't know exactly when it's going to be done. And where I live, it's kind of a long drive. But you got to bring it pre-frozen or bring it ready to pre-freeze and do the prep work. And then $20, I'll do it. Like, how many times do you have to do that before you pay it off? A number, but you can just start chipping away at it in your downtime.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a good question. I didn't know. I wonder, Nicole, do you know? Or
What?
anybody? Freeze dries better whole muscle or ground?
I don't know. That would be an Amanda question, probably.
Well, I mean, whole muscle, chicken breast is whole muscle. We freeze dried a bunch of whole chicken breasts, but they don't fit in cans or bags as well. I want to cook everything that we freeze dry because we're putting it away more for in case. We have a chef that preps most of our meals, so we eat fresh all the time. So we don't really use a lot of freeze dried. So if we're going to freeze dry stuff, it's going to be cooked with the thought that fuel will be an issue in the future if we need that stuff. And the way I foresee using most of that stuff is putting it in soups or stews with everything we can get, right? If we're eating that stuff, every scrap left on the plate will go into the next meal also. But it freeze-dried cut up, I think it freeze-dries a little bit faster than whole chicken breast, right? I think we've done some steaks too. But for the most part, if we are running the machine, we're running candy, which is highly profitable, or we are running cooked, cubed chicken or hamburger, and it's all seasoned with taco seasoning.
Ooh.
So if you have eyeballs and you're already shipping merchandise, Tim, like we do 120 shirts every Monday, right? So we're going to ship on Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to ship 120 t-shirts. In that box, I can fit a 1 pound bag of gummy bears or freeze-dried Skittles, right? So that's a $10 extra upcharge for a dude that's already paying shipping on the box. It's a win-win. Like they're either going to buy 2 shirts or they're going to buy that candy. It always happens.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. For the record, about 3/4 of the comments that I've been posting on YouTube aren't coming through or not showing up. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I'm not ignoring people who have said things, but yeah, if Jason,
we are streaming to 2 channels at once.
I think that's what's going on. But anyway,
yeah. So it may be going. That's why I've been trying to highlight your comments so people.
Oh, it's fine.
I finally figured out how to post on this platform without looking like John, but then it doesn't go to his channel, so I can actually just post as me and then highlight my comment. So.
Well, after Jack kept talking about starring comments, I finally figured out how to do that.
Mark says rotisserie chickens from Sam's, less than $5 a chicken. I think I bought 10. I had a video a couple months ago, 10 from Walmart. And weird that the normal rotisserie chicken at Walmart costs $2 more than the lemon pepper chickens did. But I broke them all down and we freeze dried them, and they taste just like the rotisserie chicken does when it hits your tongue, except it sucks all the moisture out of it. You're making like chicken chips, but you can rehydrate them. We've rehydrated those. We've rehydrated several kinds of chicken and cooked it in with eggs. We've also used freeze-dried eggs and fed them to our employees, and not a single one of them said, "Hey, what's up with these eggs?" Nobody they didn't know.
Yeah, they don't. If you do the freeze-dried eggs right, they don't know. I did that at my workshop, not as a manipulation, but just because we ran out of fresh eggs and we got into the freeze-dried eggs. And they ended up mixing it, I think, 50-50. But people were like, really? Those are freeze-dried eggs today? I was like, yeah, well, I mean, I might as well use the bounty from here to feed people here, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So the reason I don't know full muscle versus ground meat is I have freeze-dried 0 just meat. I've always, when I make a stew, which is a lot, because when you're eating keto, one of the things you can do is make a stew without any flour in it or any carbs in it, and it's actually delicious and it's easy to cook. When I have leftovers or a chili, I'll put those in, and then I have a ready to go meal for the road, because for me it's really nice to have a few bags of something I can eat in case I'm somewhere where there's nothing that I should eat. And so having it all spiced and ready to go, and I just pour a little water in that is perfect. So I haven't done just solo meat stuff. Mostly I do milk and eggs. That's the most of what goes through my freeze dryer because that's what I have the surplus of. And this year I did broccoli though. That's something that was surprising. Like I scored the rest of the crop of broccoli this year and I freeze dried it without any salt or anything on it. And I tasted it and I became instantly aware that I should have put like salt and garlic or salt and hot pepper on it because it's like a chip, but it's broccoli. So it's not a chip. And I was like, oh, that would make really good road food.
But if you freeze dry broccoli, your entire house is going to smell like farts. You freeze dry shrimp or you freeze dry any fish, your entire house is going to smell like fish. I mean like for a week. You're going to smell it every day when you come home, even after the fact. We freeze dried a bunch of cans, big cans of shredded chicken, right? Like canned chicken. The entire building smelled like tuna fish for almost a week and a half. After the fact, it was bagged up. Everything was put away. Everything was cleaned. We ran multiple loads of other stuff. The entire building smelled like tuna fish when we ran chicken, canned chicken.
Oh, man. So my freeze dryer is not in my house, so I don't know these things.
Yeah.
That's important to know. I'll add that to my freeze dryer class.
That's a great idea for the Sam's Club / Costco chickens. I wouldn't even have thought of that. We honestly, we have little Chihuahua dogs. We feed them almost exclusively rotisserie chicken because it's cheap and healthy for them, and they love it. I'll pick up 5 or 6 of them, bring them home. We debone them, put them in a bag in the fridge, and spoon it out. Put it on a plate for them, and they love it. And that's what's that? Sorry,
the cleanup's easy.
Oh, I guess it is.
Yeah, and by the time you travel with a rotisserie chicken and get home, it's already cooled off. Walmart's 15 minutes from the building to Walmart. So she'll bring rotisserie chickens home. I'll take 6 of them and just break them down and eat probably half of it while I'm doing it. Put them in a bowl, and then it just goes in the refrigerator. So we typically, for 2 or 3 days, have rotisserie chicken. And then when I'm hungry, I'll just eat a bunch of rotisserie chicken or, with an apple or with some pepperoni or something. I eat that pretty frequently. Easier than the rotisserie chickens to feed dogs, but you probably wouldn't do it because you have indoor animals. We feed our dogs rabbits, whole entire rabbits. But the cleanup, you would have blood everywhere, whereas we don't have that issue.
Yep.
Raw chicken, you can buy raw whole chickens, and your dogs can eat the chicken bone. They will chew the bone up, chew the marrow up. But then again, cleanup is an issue.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody knows this, but just talking about this, I fed a dog, one of my dogs, some meat out of a slow cooker one time that had a bone in it. I ended up killing my dog. So I felt like a bag of shit. It got in her guts and anyway. So just remember that. I always share that story as often as I can because I wasn't thinking about it. It was a slow cooked roast. Put it down, and she ended up gnawing on the and it was a Chihuahua again, of course, right? But she gnawed on the bone, got a bunch of it in there, and it all got bound up in her guts. And so PSA for people out there who slow cook things. Yeah,
so once bones are cooked, dog digestive systems can't do it unless you pressure cook them till they're mush.
Nothing. Yeah,
exactly. Basically. So if you slow cook or something and you want to feed it to your animal, it has a bone, I would pressure cook it and make it into mush.
Raw bones are fine cooked or not because they splinter, right? When you hear about shards and stuff, that doesn't happen with raw, uncooked bone.
That's cool. Yeah. I just share my mistakes so people know because it's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's
like, so this one's, I thought chicken bones were bad for animals. It's only if they're cooked.
Yep.
And those are more splintery than beef ones. But I actually had my dog at the vet this week, first in the morning yesterday. Because I gave her a piece of fish skin and she immediately started coughing. We're like, shit, there was a fish bone in there, right? And 2 days later, she was still coughing. So I brought her in at 8 a.m. I'm like, hey, I don't have my car for the day, but I'm dropping this dog because I think she has a bone stuck in her throat. And eventually that's going to swell up or something. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do. And they're like, well, can you leave her here all day? I'm like, sure. And then the doctor comes out. He's like, I'll see her right now if you can wait. I'm like, I can wait. she had an upper respiratory infection. There was no bone, but I was just like, man, fish bones, those can just like, So yeah, bones in dogs, not good. Not good. Raw bones are okay though, as you've said like 9 times. Okay, I got a question here. Starred. How do you guys approach business goals? Example, budgeting, growth in sales, and marketing plans. I'm an HVAC. I always like to hear how others approach their business practice.
I spend all my money until my bank account is negative, and I'm super motivated the next day to make some money. And I know you think that I say that as a joke, but there's probably half a dozen
No, I
times
100% believe you.
Like if you see me hustling, it's because I want something, right? If you see a bunch of new product, you see a bunch of new social media. When I don't post on social media, it's $3,000 less in sales. If I make no social media posts of gear, I make $3,000 less that day. If I make a post the next day, there is always an additional $3,000 to $5,000 of gear. So it is very important that I do that. If you see a lot of movement and a lot of, man, John's hustling, you know that I just bought something that I couldn't afford or should not have bought. And I don't, because I'm terrible about saving for things, because I impulse a lot of things.
I do too.
I'm terrible about saving towards something. And because by the time I have it, I'm like, oh, this car is $200,000 that I want. And then if I have $200,000, I'm like, I'm not going to buy that fucking car. I'm going to buy another piece of property. So I just do it and commit to it and overextend it. And it's burn the boats. And a lot of people always have problems with that. And I think a lot of population in society can't or won't do that because they know they're weak. They will not do that, right? When I do something absolutely insane, I am always going to have the solution and hustle and make the money to compensate. And every time I do that, there's momentum on the backside and we make a lot more money than we had. Because when I'm comfortable, I am complacent. And if I am comfortable, I'm a very, very lazy person, just naturally. So
I get it.
I have to commit to crazy shit. My guys ask pretty frequently, like, why are we doing this way? Like, we have a tractor. Why are we out here with shovels? I said, because we're doing this way. Because if you manage to stick around and be here in 5 years and you're telling the story, this is the way I want the story told. Because I'm the one paying the bill and I'm the one creating the story. And this is how we're going to do it. Now, when it's yours, you can do that. But if you want eyeballs and you want people to be interested, then you have to do shit in that manner. And it all equals money. And it allows me to do all the shit and allows me to do all the shit for my people and my people to do the things that they do because of the way we operate in that manner.
I get the most motivated when I'm doing something new. That's just the way my brain works. It's why I always, if you follow me, you'll see I'm always doing something fucking new because that is what lights a fire under my ass. And when I was on the show the first time with you guys, I was in Daytona Beach and we were talking about it. And that hit me and stuck with me, John, about the burning the bridges and burning the boats, because I always tell people not to do that. I say, build up a nice, comfortable year or 6 months, whatever it happens to be, have that, but that's not what I did. I fucking walked away from a job with no income coming in and had to make it work. And you're right. I hate to tell people that, but God damn, that seems to be the way to get motivated is,
Do you know why you do that? Because I do the same thing too. People are like, what would you give me business advice, right? Because the guy asking that, he's not going to be able to do it. Because if he was able to do it, he would already be doing it. And we don't want his wife coming back and going, hey, you told my guy to quit his job and sell all his shit and light his boss's desk on fire. Go make it. And he did. And then he was so worried about it, he sat home for 3 more months and now he's committed suicide. We don't want that on us.
Right.
People that can do that are typically going to do that. They've already done it.
Yep.
I think the only person I know who successfully transitioned from one job methodically into the next by saving up and doing all the right things is Jack Spirko. That's literally his story. He worked 2 jobs and transitioned out of the day job and into his podcast. But the day job he had was also very entrepreneurial to begin with.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and I used to give the advice to do that. And if you are the kind of person who can do that, you should do that. But when I think about my own story, it was the same thing. It was like, fuck, I got to sink or swim, and I guess I better swim now.
But with that said, Jack's story is not exactly that either. Jack went to them and said, hey, I am leaving. And they said, please give me another 6 months. And he did. And at 6 months, they said, please give me another 6 months. Jack was ready to go a year earlier.
Right. But he spent a year getting ready to go before that.
I mean, I worked 5 jobs. I worked multiple jobs starting until I finally had taken so much time off for gun shows and stuff. They fired me. When they fired me, I all of a sudden had to take my hobby business and actually pay bills with it. You know what happened? I made 3 times that much if you included all of the income from everything. When they fired me, I made 3 times more that month.
I can say this. So I before we started today, I was telling Tim, my cash flow advisor, I have a friend who's been working with me on making more money because I want to make more money. And he broke my balls over a budget for about an hour last night on the phone, like going over after the fact, something like, how much money did you make? Why didn't you make much more money? Next time you do this, how do you make more money? And what I realized, and this is sort of how I approach things, I tend to be very project based, and I map out some of the communications in advance for marketing. And I have an idea of what the message is because that's my background. But the way I prioritize business development is I look retroactively at like what went well, what didn't go well financially. I'll be like, did I lose money on that? Did I make money on that? And the things I've made money on, I ask why and how can I make more?
Right.
That's where I've gotten to in the last few years is just like, okay, this barely broke even and it took a lot of time. How do we make more money next time? What add-ons could like John's candy? Like how do we add the Nicole sauce version of John's bag of candy to the same ship bag so that there's more income per sale or more income per project? And that's really helped me this year. And that guy he calls me every so often, every few months, and he will like literally say, you know, this event or this part of your coffee business, and he'll start just hammering me with questions. And I've now learned I have to have a spreadsheet for everything so I can look at it when he calls me and I can answer that question. It's been really good for me.
Is that John?
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to say who it is because he's not anybody we know, but he's somebody you're going to meet. I will tell you when you meet him. He's really like what he does best is make money. Sometimes
you just need a guy removed to look at the stuff. I'm in a mastermind group. It costs $300 a week to be in that group. We do 1 hour. He does a live video, and you can type just like we're typing here on the side, right? I gain something that makes me thousands of dollars every time I sit my ass right here at this table for 1 hour and listen to him talk, right? We know each other. I want access to him. I want more access to these people. I'm the lowest man on the totem pole in this thing. My buddy runs a heat and air business. He comes in here yesterday. I'm like, what are your membership levels on your YouTube channel? He's like, I have 5. It's $500 to be on level 5. Okay, what do we get for $500? He's like, you get 24-hour access to me. You have my phone number. You can call me. And it's more for like heat and air technicians, right? Samsung pays this kid a shit ton of money to drive in and do seminars on how to install new product. They don't even have new product. Like they're 50 to 60 months out on any commercial units right now. He's like, I have a request for quote. I have 40 quotes a day requesting new property projects. All these guys are selling these properties in New York, coming buying 100 acres, and they're building 9,000 square foot houses. Nobody can get AC units. He's like, I'm not even bidding those jobs. We are troubleshooting and making equipment continue to run when we can't get parts for it. That's the industry right now. Okay, so $500, his people have access to him about 18 hours a day. Hey, I got this problem. Here it is. Can you look at this? What should I do, right? That's worth a bunch of texts, giving him $500 a week or a month to have access to him. Level 4, what do you get for level 4? What does that cost? You have tons of people buying mini split units right now. Everybody feels that contractors are robbing them and putting them in. A mini split unit, depending on how many heads and the size and everything, $700,000, but guys are getting charged $2,000. I understand that because you want it done today. The price is $3,000. I understand that. But a lot of homeowners are putting in mini splits. So he has a program where you buy access to him and he will walk you through while you do your install. Any questions you have in that 24-hour period, you have access to him. What's that worth? $100? $200? There's always a way to make money. You just need somebody to, like, we bounce ideas off. And every time I talk to one of these guys, I'm like, holy shit, we should be doing exactly what I'm telling him to do. We should be doing also on our YouTube.
Yeah, I think every time I have taken, like, been sort of growing, and then step change, like where it just goes up, there has been somebody I talked to or somebody who, without me asking to mentor me, has mentored me. I've been mentored by so many people, and all I had to do was hear what they were saying and do something with it.
Yep.
And I think the thing that gets in people's ways is they don't hear. They're like, well, that's different than what I'm doing now, so it's wrong, or I can't. I can't themselves out of doing it. And if you just hear and then start taking a step and then take a second step, it's amazing what you can change. And I think it's just a lifelong journey. We've talked to people and they're like, here's a really simple idea that you never thought of. And you're like, damn, I wish I would have thought of that 10 years ago. And then you go do it and everything is easier because of it, or better.
And it's action. And when you start having that revenue come in, you're able to quit and free up a lot of other time, right? Well, I don't know if I want to take this task on because I'm already working 16 hours. I don't know if I want to work 18. If you can push through and work 18 hours for a few weeks or months and get that in place, you'll be amazed at all the minuscule bullshit you can stop doing, or you can hire, like having a guy that cooks is enormous. Like when Josh came here, he's like, I'm going to be your chef. I'm like, I don't know if I can afford this guy. The money we paid him, and we paid him way more than he even asked for after being here a month or two, saved so much money being able to go in the kitchen and having a selection, right? I was eating 7 times a day, getting ready for a bodybuilding show. And Josh prepped I was eating 5 meals that were fish, but they don't taste like fish, right? He's a master chef. So just to have a dude for instance, right, to remove that from you and have those meals prepped, and we'd go out to dinner and he'd go because he wanted to see what I was ordering. He wanted to see what I enjoyed, what I didn't like. And to have that guy or have somebody that does that, even when from the tall view, you're like, I can't afford $2,000, or $3,000 or whatever. And then when he starts shopping, right, he starts going and shopping and going. He went to 5 butcher shops in Nashville every week. He went to 3, other grocery stores and stuff. So to have that dude, even with the big price tag that was kind of a shock at first, holy shit, your body changed rapidly, your enjoyment changed, and it really was not expensive when you were able to cut all that other stuff away and not have, and especially travel time when you would go eat, or prep time when you would make those meals. Like when I hired him, I'm like, I don't have a full-time job for a chef. That dude worked 14 hours a day here. Like it was a full-time, time and a half job.
Yeah, I want to highlight something here if I can find it. There we go. As the Crow Flies Homestead, quit drinking. And that's, so do you know how many people's debt stories I hear? Like, I took control of my life and got out of debt, and where they start is they stopped drinking alcohol and buying alcohol. And that money savings changed and their energy changed. And that combination of two things really helped them take control. So good on both of you for doing that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tim.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Fortress will be here. He's bringing a bigger setup than last time. He'll be here a couple days earlier. If you want to see these dogs that literally are like getting smacked by a missile, you want to see them climb ladders, you want to see them walk tight ropes, you want to see what the capability of these animals is, he will be here and he will be doing a much longer, larger demonstration than the last event. It's well worth coming to see these animals.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get him on a live before Self-Reliance Festival to talk a little bit more about what he has planned. But he's bringing part of his team here. He's going to be all set up, and he's going to do a great job. I think he may be doing demos on and off through the whole thing. We have some time set aside for Fortress K9 to do the demos where there is not something also on the big stage, just so people, because we always have simultaneous things going on, but where he's going to be is kind of near the big stage. So we wanted to make sure there wouldn't be like crossover, and that, because I know last time his presentation was awesome and everybody's like, yeah, but we want to see the dogs work. And so this time we're going to see the dogs work. One
of the even cooler things for the guys that were there when it actually happened, we were all sitting around bullshitting inside with Drac, who does all the 3D printing stuff. And he was like, hey, I need this thing to fit this thing. And my guys started pulling it apart, right? We wanted to push to talk to where we could calm. So the dogs wear hearing protection, and the dogs wear goggles, and they wear a head, like a helmet, right? It's badass. But we couldn't make it work. So Drac took it apart, took a control board out of one of the Surefire flashlights. Now all of a sudden this thing exists, right? So how do we put this together? And it happened right there. Whereas, hey, call me. I'm like, no, that's bullshit. You guys are both here. Let's fucking do this right now. And it happened. Like it's done. It exists now.
I think that's what I always talk about. Like the power of being in person. If you put doers in person and you do something, things happen. Yeah. If you just talk about doing it, like we'll have a call next week.
Yeah, I don't have meetings. Like I'm definitely not going to have a meeting to have a meeting. That's why I don't talk on the phone, because you can tell me what the fuck you want in one sentence, and I can either ignore you or pass it to the other 3 people that'll make it happen. I don't understand. Let's have a meeting to have a meeting and have a call to plan. Like it's hard you notice I don't ever sit down when I do these videos. If I sit down, I fall asleep.
That would make an interesting video for everybody. John Willis falling asleep on live camera.
Yeah, I don't sit for very long.
Yeah. Cool.
As far as making space, you're talking about, freeing up to do other things. For us in my business, the more I focused on the things that made the most money and for the least amount of time, I started feeling lazy at first because I was making more money working less. So that's when I started launching my content creation, and I was able to fill in all that dead space with something that kind of got my brain going. And for anybody interested, I mean, not to talk too long about it, but it takes a while to build a content creation platform that actually makes you money. So, and you need to be committed to it for a year or two before you even start, But yeah, so I made $1,000 from YouTube and Amazon last month, and I was fucking proud of that. But that was all because I freed up enough time in my other business by making enough money from the things that took the least amount of time, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I love this comment by Life Done Free. I used to think it was money management, then it was time management. I now focus on energy management.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
When you break things down that you're doing to dollars per minute, it's a very different view, right? Everybody thinks they've made it when they made $1 million. $1 million isn't shit anymore. Like dudes are like, hey, what should I do with 10 grand? What should I invest in? You should invest in you. You should learn some skills that will make you more money. If you want to make $1 million, you need to know how much money you need to make every day to make $1 million. And then you need to break that down into hours. And then all the dumb shit you do through the day, like sitting for 40 minutes on the toilet with this thing. How much money did you just lose out of that $1 million while you were 17 minutes on the toilet looking at fucking TikTok, right? And when that's in your head, you view things very differently.
That's what I did my first couple of years. I figured out how much I needed to make every single day so that I could break 6 figures. And I think it took me 2 years to do it, but I got there. And you do, and you have it in mind. And then, like I said, we invested in other businesses, and it compounds after a while.
And then it's access, right? You need 1,000 true fans, followers, customers, clients, whatever we want to call them. But it has to be real, right? There has to be true value there. So once you have 1,000, well, they give you $5, right? $5,000 a month is more than most people in the United States have ever made in their life. So how can you scale that to $5 per week, right? How much more value to get $20,000 a week, right? And then you have affiliate links and you have all these other things, but it all starts with an audience. And how do you get eyeballs? You have to do things that people are interested in. Whatever that is, they will come as long as you create content that's, not bullshit.
So many people want to short circuit that right there. They want to go, if you go on TikTok and you see all these, how to make $1 million with affiliate sales. All they want you to do is do the fucking affiliate sales, but you need, and not just, you need an audience, but it needs to be a community. And you need to give to those people because you want to, not because you want to make money off them. You
Yeah,
want to build
true.
a community around it. And when you do that, then the support will come. Everybody wants to short circuit it, jump past it all, sell to some non-existent fucking audience that doesn't exist because I spent $300 on a masterclass course once that told me to sell affiliate links and do an online course, but you got no eyeballs to sell it to.
And half the master classes,
Oh,
you show up and it's, hey, do a master class, right? It's just fucking multi-level marketing.
It's a fucking pyramid scheme. It is 100%.
Yeah. And then access, right? How much value when you talk to a guy that is in a different business but a successful business, it's having that guy not involved in your shit, looking at your shit. To have access to them, right? What value would that be to be able to have a 30-minute phone call or a 30-minute video conference with a person that is not here where all the eyes are, right? Where you can have true unhindered communication and you can say whatever you want without worried about being demonetized or throttled back or whatever, right? So to have that access, so once you have the eyeballs and you have the content and you have the audience, then to have that next level, right? They will monetize that. They will pay you for that time. It's about access.
And your time's worth it too for people.
Yeah.
You know, it is, and you need to know. Well, people need to know that. And I a lot of times, I always, I don't know. I call myself a drive-by encourager. I always try to, whenever I talk to somebody, find out what they're doing and encourage the hell out of them. And when people reach out to me and say, how do I start a content creation? How do I start a handyman? Well, I will take the time to email them back and send them a nice response. And if they, yes, exactly. And if they take action on that, fucking right, I'll help them again. But if they don't, I can't. I'm sorry. There's enough people that want, to find out what they should do next. But so many people ask. That's why I create a lot of these videos, because so many people ask, how do I do this? And I'm like, here's the video. And if they come back and they want more and they've done something with it, then go for it. Like I talk about Brian from the Lots Project. We first started talking about he started talking about putting together the Fireside Freedom. And you get that a lot. I probably had 24 people come to me around that same time saying, I want to build this. I want to build that. Well, fucking Brian's put his money where his mouth is. And he's put out 5 fucking podcasts every day of the, one podcast every day of the week, 5 days a week for the last solid year. And he's building a brand and he's building content, and it's awesome. But for every Brian, there's 20 people who email you and say, how do I do this? And that's the end of their response.
I know the Lots Project online, and I communicate with them. Amanda, until last night, I didn't know that I actually stood for hours and talked to him and his wife at the expo, right? Bald girl, unicycle. I'm like, holy shit, totally know who she is. I follow the St. Bernard dog Instagram.
Yeah.
And now she's been doing this earthing thing for 30 days where she's walked barefoot for the entire 30 days, right? But I didn't put that together that I actually knew them until 10 o'clock last night.
That's funny.
It happens, and people don't. There's another thing for consistent branding across social media, because I'll talk to somebody in one platform and they're like, it'll be so-and-so's name. And then later on I'll meet them and we'll be talking again. And they're like, oh, I'm like, just have your same. No, they're good at that. But that's one reason that a lot of times people fall through the cracks.
Yeah. I don't know why guys use different names all across all these platforms too. Like it's ridiculous. My buddy Bob, I think it was online or through maybe phone call with Tag from Life Done Free. I think they talked for an hour or something. He's like, Bob got back to me afterwards. He's like, holy shit, this is the most actionable things. Like, this has put us so much further forward than all of the other stuff combined by just communicating and getting in touch with Tag.
I think we should do a panel at Self-Reliance Festival about starting your content business or growing your content business, because we have so many people there who have done that.
Yeah, I'd be down in a heartbeat. Love
it. Because we'll do one on prepping, but we have room for another one. So
sure,
I say we maybe more than one, because that's something everybody asks about. And the hard truth is, if you're starting your content business this week, next month it is not probably paying your bills.
So
some rare person can do that with a lot of investment or a lot of luck, but next month it's not paying your bills.
The Prepper Homestead.
Sorry, John.
The Prepper Homestead space is so focused on the world's ending, what should we buy because we're never going to be able to have it again. If you truly believe that, start something that will make you money and then make a lot more money. It will make all that other shit easier. If it's accumulating number 10 cans, I got 50 of them in front of me here, Augustin Farm number 10 cans. If it's accumulating cans and you make an extra $5,000 this week or tomorrow, you can buy all those cans, right? If that's what you're looking at. But it all comes through, how do I do the job from the homestead, right? Start posting shit. How do I start a YouTube channel? You just fucking start making videos. They don't have to be good. Just make the videos, keep them private, send the links to a few random people and see what they say. Build content everywhere. And then you're going to, if you can do that bullshit for 15 minutes a day for a few months, you're going to get to 1,000 fast if you say things that people want to hear. Or
and the production quality helps, and having thumbnails helps, and all of the things we talk about will help. Consistency, though, is the most important thing.
Okay, well, with that said, I have 700,000 people on my Facebook page. I never did any of that shit until maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Consistency, personality, and your message. Those are the three, get it out there. If it's something somebody clicks with and they like your personality, they're going to come back way quicker than they are because I have a TikTok ring light sitting right here that took the shine off my bald head. You know what I mean? Like that. But you start and nobody's going to watch your shit when you start. That's just the nature of it. And then improve one thing every week, just a little bit. And you can't not get better at it. But it's a slog.
Tapping into the community is helpful too around you.
Oh, big time.
Like you're the master of this. You're like, I'm going to get this person on and talk to that person. And that brings eyeballs to everybody because we pass eyeballs back and forth at that point.
If you want to go viral, take the shit that you want to say that you think you're not allowed to say.
Hey, Gordon.
When you start saying those things, people will like them and people will dislike them, and they will share them for both reasons. And then the guys that like you, they will come and find out what you actually do and how to do business with you.
So this is Fred.
He's huge.
What is it?
It's a Q-Shaw squash, 21.4 pounds.
How long will that store?
It'll store till April in cold storage, like in my root cellar. But I picked that yesterday on live video. I actually dropped it because it was heavier than I thought it was going to be.
Do you have an actual root cellar?
I use my prepper pantry as a root cellar, which is half underground. So
awesome.
That stays in air conditioning until October and then goes into the root cellar. But yeah, it's that. But I did a little stupid 7-minute video picking that thing. And that I've gotten more comments on that stupid little 7-minute video than like things that are much more well thought out. I was just like, well, I have to prove that I really grow food. So we're going to go pick a squash. That was it. That's the video.
Why I love TikTok is it lets you, I do other random shit on there that I don't do on my YouTube channel, because that's one thing about YouTube is to an extent, I almost want to say they penalize you or it sets you back when you kind of step out of what your channel's been built on. So you kind of have, I know that's not the case for everybody, but I'm a tool review channel. So if I put up a video about, I don't know, like wood stoves or cooking something on a wood stove, they're not going to push the video, but I can do it on, my shorts, and I can talk about it on my podcast, and I can put it on TikTok, and that gives me that creative outlet for all that other stuff too.
Yeah. So our videos, when we put them up on YouTube, are automatically partially monetized. They have a yellow $sign instead of a green one.
Yep.
And when we look at the analytics over the last 90 days, our video view that had 10,000 views on it was fully monetized. And then all the others were yellow, and they only have 100, 200, 300, 1,000 views on them. I can dispute that and review it, and I have won every single review I've ever put up.
Me too.
But it takes 10 days to do it, and it's already out of the algorithm push. So whatever you were going to say that was relative, it's already out of the feed. They're not going to put it back in the propagation. It's never going to happen. And then when they do that partial monetization bullshit, they still make your viewers watch all the ads. You just don't get any of the click-through on them.
Yep. 100%.
That's why I like Fountain FM.
I don't make my money on YouTube.
Yeah.
I make my money from people that watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Now I got to say, when you're building something up front, the quickest way to make money, to motivate you to move it off the platforms is through those platforms, whether it's through YouTube ads, Amazon affiliate. That's what got, that's what wet my lips, that kept me motivated, because, I made $5 in my first year doing it, but it was the first $5 I ever fucking made. And then the next year I started making more money. But, it depends on how much of the game you want to play, but it's really good to get you motivated to develop your own system, your own way of making money.
Yeah, my primary ways of making money are not through any of the ads or any of those affiliate links. That's just extra.
Absolutely. But it is one of the quickest ways to start making money, to at least get you going. That's what I found so far.
Yeah, the reason I haven't, because I can see how I could make more money on YouTube ads, for example, now that I'm monetized. But if I concentrate on that, then I'm not concentrating on why people listen to me.
Right.
And I'm not going to let YouTube tell me what to say or what to do or how to do it.
For me, that's why I started my podcast, because that gives me that outlet. It's still live stream, but I don't run ads while it's running. It's there. And if something ever happens, I can always branch it off into its own channel, because that's why I need that outlet. I need that place for me, because for whatever reason, a tool review video is not the place to wax eloquent about anarchy and government. You can find that out from me by listening to me, and hopefully it'll bring you over to my podcast and all the other stuff. But, those tool review videos are there because I like to talk about DeWalt, and I like to drive people to affiliate sales, and people respect my opinion on what I think about tools.
I think we need an epic rap battle between you and John Willis, DeWalt versus Milwaukee.
The tool companies won't send you product to review either, and they won't give you affiliate links. Like, you're not going to get a Lowe's affiliate link if you're talking about collapse of society.
Exactly, John.
Affiliate link. Home Depot has an affiliate link. Tractor Supply does.
Yep. And that's kind of that's a hard line to figure out what you do with it. You know what I mean? It can be two separate businesses, and I guess that's kind of where I'm trying to head with it, is to have my outlet here, my outlet there, and if it catches up to me or whatever, I'll deal with it then. When you do
the tool reviews and you do a review, for instance, on DeWalt,
yep,
do you use Milwaukee's hashtags?
No. You think I should?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, I don't own a Jeep truck. I don't care that people have them, but every time we do one, I use the Toyota hashtags and the Jeep hashtags, and dudes show up and fight, right? It's
sure. That makes
absolutely.
sense.
Absolutely.
John's the master of getting dudes to fight with each other in his comments.
No, guys are just pussies and inherently want to say some shit. And when you have a loyal following, the difference between those dudes is, if you snatched up 100 of those guys online and you drugged them and they all woke up in the same room like Saw, none of them would know what they have in common. If you snatched up 100 of my customers and we all woke up, 75% of us would recognize one another, because we actually know each other. And when you do, you don't have to fight that fight, which might get you unmonetized. The people with no financial interest will fight that fight for you, because they are loyal, because you have done right. They know you.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
I guess that's what it is to be a personality.
Put ourselves out there.
But I think it's beyond a personality if you actually know one another, if you have years of history. I think it's even beyond that. It's not that they can't come and see you or come to an event or actually, become friends or do business with you. Whereas on the other side, it's just some dude, rather than just slipping, scrolling past or hitting block, they want to say some negative shit.
A lot of people want to say some negative shit.
Because the negative shit's easy and the positive shit leads to action, and they don't want to act.
TikTok's horrible for
that.
The
best advice John Willis ever gave me, he doesn't know this, was a text message on Facebook where I asked him his opinion about a business decision I was making. And he said, "Why do you care about my opinion? You should just make your decision, Nicole. Do it or don't do it." I was like, he's right.
Was that the coffee thing?
It was something coffee related. I think I was trying to figure out how to scale.
I think it was the Kickstarter, which you launched going after 15,000 and closed at 30,000.
Yeah.
Yep. That was awesome. I was so proud.
It was the best. He was like, he's right. It's my fucking business. I'm responsible. I just need to make the decision and go. and stop asking people, like stop wasting time asking opinions. That was also my buy the beans year.
Yep.
Still haven't made that t-shirt, but yeah. People are addicted to drama and junk. Yep. If it bleeds, it leads.
Sure does.
Good, yeah.
I just try to stay away from the shit. I really do. I don't have, whatever,
Yeah.
Just
that's why. So I've been reading this new, like, the Inflation Increasing Act. And, I'm interested in it because I want to know what its impact on my taxes is going to be personally, right? And regulatorily speaking, how's it going to hit the shipping industry and some other things that matter to me. So I started reading the text of it. And the reporting on it is completely like, it's all drama over here and all drama over there. And I'm reading the bill and I'm like, it doesn't say either of those two things. So yeah, the drama is not helpful. And the reporting on what's going on is also completely fucked.
I did that with, how everybody was so worried about the rolling blackouts and how we were going to overextend. So I just went and found the report and I read it and I did a podcast episode on it. And it wasn't, was it great? No, it wasn't, but it was a hell of a lot better than what everybody was picturing, because all they could see was that one graphic where the whole center of the United States was red because we were going to completely exceed our capacity. And was it a possibility? Sure. But it's a report that's put out every single year. But this year it was grabbed and people ran with it. And it's
fun and it sells. It's fun and it sells, right?
Yeah.
So if you see, oh my God, my state's going to have rolling blackouts and I'm not going to have power half the time. Probably nice to have a big generator system. Probably be nice to have some portables. Probably nice to have some solar generators that are quiet, right? But most people can't afford that. You know how you could afford that? You could start your business and you could scale and not have to worry about any of that shit anymore. And then while you're amassing those things, you could build a media content company around those. And when you get a little bigger, those companies will give you all that shit to do reviews on them. And before you know it, you won't have to work that job that you don't really like working anymore. But it all requires action.
I am now starting a second review on Fridays for the stuff that companies have now sent me. That's become an issue, and it's stuff, companies that I respect, that I like, products that I've bought and recommended for the last while. So I'm pretty excited about that. And so, yeah, it happens. It absolutely does.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, so Darren from Hacks for the Homesteader told me this weekend, if you don't put that money in your pocket, someone else will. Sounded like something John would say.
I do say that. There's free money fucking everywhere. People are too lazy to go get it.
Yep. GB, you going to be at the festival? You should be at the festival. Self-Reliance Festival is going to be awesome. I haven't even rolled out all the speakers yet, you guys. You should keep your eyes out because we're rolling out a few every few days now. So,
hey, John, have you ever done product testing videos? So I picked when your wallet come in the mail, the first thing I thought is, I think I could fucking tow a truck with it. And so I was thinking, what I'd love to do is hang like a 20-pound weight off it and see if it held. Because I've never had a wallet that held like that. You know what I mean? Have you ever done shit like that?
So we took 2 of our belts at Camp Pendleton and we towed we hooked it to a Humvee and a 5-ton. And then we hooked the 5-ton to a 5-ton and we towed the 5-ton.
Nice.
Right? Years later, we duplicated that. We did the same thing at the range over here with 2 excursions, 4-wheel drive low, brand new tires. And the trucks are, we get down to Bedrock and it's smoking. My brand new tires that had less than 1,000 miles, it had grooved and cut half the tread off my tires. The belts didn't stop functioning. The belts held. Fast forward to maybe 5 years ago, my friend runs a repair place. It's a huge National Guard unit outside of Nashville. And they have M60 battle tanks there. And he hooked it to a crane and lifted with 2 of the belts. He lifted the M60 battle tank off of, not completely off the ground, but the front of the tank about 50% off of the ground with 2 of those belts. We took our tool bag and we filled it with gravel. And I have number 7 gravel, the bigger gravel out here, super smart gravel. It's 38 pounds. We went on the back road back here with about 6 or 7 of us and 2 guys, 1 on each handle. And we threw them as high in the air as we could get them. and they would smash the ground. We went 0.6 of a mile before a piece of that gravel finally broke the zipper. The bag was fully still intact. All of our stitching was intact. The zipper failed. We've done that twice. Yeah, we used to take my LBVs and we would snap link them to a pull-up bar, and you'd have some smart ass kid come up, young Marines would come up and they're like, why does this rig cost $200? I go, well, you hang on these two pockets and you hang on these two pockets.
Right.
You guys do pull-ups, right? We would do the same thing with my mag pouches. We would give them to a Marine, and I go, put your foot in the mag pouch and grab at the lid and try to make it fail. They could never make it fail. And that was product that was just there for sale, right? It wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't some shit we sewed. It's literally how we build stuff still today.
That's all. Yeah, because what made me think of it, the other day I was in there and there was somebody busting your balls on TikTok about why your stuff was expensive. And I'm like, well, you're the wrong customer then. Have a nice day.
That's the same turd that said it was on the wallet. And he said, I don't like how your label's on the front of the wallet. I think that's cheesy. Well, the label's not on the front of the wallet.
No, it's not.
It's inside, under a window. If you don't like it, put a debit card or a credit card in there. You'll never see the label. But it's that complaining to complain, right? Because what he said wasn't even correct.
No.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, how much? What product do you like that we make? And he goes, clearly, I've hurt your feelings. I've already spent too much headspace. Block. You will never fucking take any of my fucking brainwave towards you again. It won't happen. You no longer have any access to anything that is my company's.
Yep.
I jumped in and,
you guys keep talking for a second. I'll be right back.
I jumped in because you have a customer or somebody who appreciates your product, and they're the ones that are going to do your customer service for you or razz the,
Absolutely.
and that's what it is. But yeah, I can't get over. I just, when I opened it up, I took it and just pulled both ends just to see, cause it felt well built. And
you might have that plastic, you might get that clear window to fail.
Sure.
If you jam your finger into it, it'll definitely misshapen. But you're not going to get that edge tape and that Cordura. It's not going to fail.
People just don't make shit like that anymore, John. That's what blows me away. I didn't realize. Maybe this sounds stupid. I just didn't realize that quality was even out there anymore. Or, I mean, I knew it kind of was, but especially in fabrics or whatever it is that you use. Leather, I expected it, but in that kind of thing, yeah. Oh,
yeah. Our material will hold up better than leather will. Like if you did abrasion testing, my material will hold up better than leather. If you do stretch and tensile strength, I guess that's tensile. I don't know. If you were clamp and pull them, our material will hold up better than leather, depending on the size and weight of leather.
I love my belt, but
well,
what I love more
the tool apron,
the tool pouch. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been eyeing up some
tool
of that
apron. Stuff. Yeah. Look, this little, what is that thing called? Tourniquet fits right in there. It's perfect. Fourth use for it. I keep thinking of different things. It's like you need a collection of them for different purposes.
I use drywall screws or decking screws to put shit together all the time, right? So I've got screws in there. I have J-clips for the rabbit cage pliers in there. The hog ring pliers. Bits and drivers, right? And different screw nut drivers, as well as Phillips drivers and stuff. So that's what fits in there. I can put, small hand shovels in there when I'm in the row house. You can use that thing for all kinds of stuff.
Cool. Okay, well we're rounding the corner here, I think.
Yeah, we've been well over 2 hours today. It's been.
We could just keep going, man.
Oh, I know. I could talk all day. I built another deck this weekend, just for the record. This one was 16 by 31. So
why don't you come out here and we'll sink a bunch of telephone poles and we'll build a stage and a pavilion.
Oh, I would. Sure.
I think John needs one.
Yeah. We do need one. We
also need to level that building.
So the building needs to be leveled, and then we'll put the pavilion next to that building, like where that big, huge trailer is. We'll put it over for a stage.
You've got no rocks in your ground, right?
I do have rocks, but I have a high flow skid steer with augers.
Nice. Takes care of most of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty lucky here. We don't don't ever hit a rock when you dig. It's crazy.
We have rocks. I mean, you drill your lines or whatever, and if you hit a big rock, then you move all of your lines over 12 inches.
Yeah.
Understood. I get it. Yeah.
Or you learn how to drill through them. We actually had a backhoe out here, and I had run a drain line funny, so it does like one of the Tennessee things where it goes meh, 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 meh. And then the backhoe was here, and Tactical's like, I wonder if that rock will move, and we were able to move it and straighten that line. It was a big moment.
Yeah.
So
everything will move with the proper equipment.
Yeah. So every so often we've moved some big rocks here this year. So, All right. Well, what do you guys want to say before we wrap up? John, you get to go first today.
I do a live feed at 9:00 on YouTube. If you want to have a conversation, it can be whatever you want. If you like what I say, just wait a few minutes. I'll probably say something you don't like. We have tons of merchandise and stuff. What really pays the bills is nylon tactical gear. We do all kinds of T-shirts. You usually see Nicole wear them. Jack wears them. Tim's got some of them. We do a shirt almost every single week. And you can find me anywhere. It's SOE Tactical Gear everywhere. You can find me on any platform.
Awesome. I'm going to let Tim wind up. So I'm going to say it's time to get your tickets for selfreliancefestival.com. That's October 1st and 2nd. Later today, we are launching a pre-Self-Reliance Festival class all about plant communities and planting swales, the Bonds, Billy Bond and William Bond. And I think Michelle Bond is going to be here. They're going to teach that Friday before. So that's an add-on, comes with lunch. I just need to run one more thing by Billy before we launch that. So that'll also be at selfreliancefestival.com. I recommend getting your tickets soon. Get them soon, because in the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden, they're starting to sell faster. And if you think you're coming and haven't gotten your ticket, you better get your ticket. Toolman Tim will be there speaking, as will a lot of people in the live feed. I saw Billy in the live feed. I saw Tag in the live feed. I saw, who else did I see? I saw Fortress K9 was in the live feed. A lot of people who were talking here, you're going to see. And the cool thing is we're doing presentations. We're doing demonstrations. But the best thing is we're doing connections. We've got 2 people dedicated to helping all of us connect this time. There'll be cards you can fill out that just talk about where you're from and who you want to meet. And they have some sort of plan to try to help people connect, because people will come to Camden, Tennessee, and they'll find themselves right next to somebody. They'll come from 3 states away and find themselves right next to somebody who lives in their town, who they didn't even know was there, with shared interests. And we've seen a lot of communities come out of that. We may even see some Self-Reliance Festival spinoffs in other part of the country, which I think will be awesome. And the other thing is, don't forget to get your coffee at Holler Roast, but get your tickets at selfreliancefestival.com.
Also, come into that class before the event. You're going to have maybe 60 to 100 people here, as opposed to 1,000. If you want to have one-on-one connections with these guys in town before they've been out in the sun for 2 days and before they've talked to 1,000 people, like, we hang out here in the building that evening, typically both nights, and there's some great conversations that are had that cannot be had on social media. So it's worth coming, even if you're like, I'm not ever planting swales, I'm not doing plant communities and guilds. It's worth coming, the price of admission, just to have one-on-one access to these guys before they're somewhat burnt out on Sunday.
And I can attest, as somebody who was never going to install aquaponics, I went to an aquaponics class anyway, and now all the aquaponics grows my food. So,
It happens.
Tim, you get to wrap up today. I just thought it'd be fun to let you wrap up.
Sure. Yeah. So the Workshop Podcast, that's where you can find me. We live stream every Thursday, Saturday, Sunday evening, 7:00 Mountain Time. It's a great community. The Telegram group is where it's at. I think we got like 135 people in there. That is the place to go if you want to be motivated, kick in the ass, and have some ideas for building your business. Absolutely. Yeah, I love the people over there. They're as motivating to me as I am to them. So come by, check that out. And I am launching the Patch of the Month Club, the Tactical Patch or the Morale Patch, whatever you want to call it. It is going to be officially live tomorrow. You'll be able to find it at patchofthemonth.co. That's going to be my way. There's going to be extra goodies behind that afterwards. There's going to be a portal with, access and new content and vendor discounts, that sort of thing. But this is where it's starting. People seem to love them. I know John loves them. And so this was my idea. It seems like a lot of interest in it. So I'm excited. Anyway, it's coming. It's going to be live tomorrow. That website might actually work now. I shouldn't say that, but I think it does. So anyway, it's another story for another day.
Don't break the website, everybody. Send them email saying there's a typo on page 3. Anyway, well, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you guys next week. I'm not going to tell you who it is, though. You'll have to wait and find out.